Hello. We are back with episode 2. This is a re-recording because I had some technical difficulties yesterday. The nice thing about this is that I am able to be in the original space, so this will at least look a little bit more consistent. I had tried to film in a different space, and I'm honestly not exactly sure what happened. The file size is the same as what it usually is. It was the same length. I used the exact same programs, and for some reason, the uploading process for the episode that I recorded that was supposed to come out yesterday just would not upload. It was not having it. It did not want to upload. It got to 60 or 70% and then would just crash every time. So I'm trying again. I am back in the same spot. I have, I think, figured out a pretty good little area here. This feels pretty cozy, feels pretty good. The lighting is much better. The space that I was trying to record in yesterday was quite a bit darker. And, I think the universe was like, you know what? Good on you for trying to figure it out. My family's been sick and it's been hard to get the space to record. So I think the universe was just telling me you tried your best, but we're going to give it another redo. So, we're back. We have episode 2 coming out. It's a little bit late, but you know what? Things happen. Tech is not necessarily my strong suit. I have a decent grip on the basics, but all of this is very new to me, so I'm very much learning as I go with the editing and the uploading and all of that. So, I'm actually trying a specific program for recording podcasts that Spotify recommends. We're going to try it today. We're going to see how it works. And hopefully this will just be the magic combination that I need for getting the podcast out on time and a little bit more efficiently too, because I'm going to tell you, I was so grumpy yesterday. I started the day off really good. I felt great. I was excited to launch this episode, and it was pretty defeating. I'm not going to lie. I put all the work in, did everything. It was all done, ready to be uploaded and published. And it would not do it. So we're back, round 2. We're trying it again. This will help me fine tune what I was talking about a little bit too. So I think it'll be good. It'll be a good episode, even though we're a little bit late and there was a little bit of a hiccup. We're back. We're swinging. It's all good. So this episode is going to be pretty chill. I've actually decided that instead of doing a theme or a topic for every single episode like I was doing in the first season, I'd like to approach things in a little bit more of a casual way. If there's something going on in the world or in my life or that I feel really passionate about in the moment, I'll still do a themed or topic specific episode. But I get a lot of really great feedback from the kind of hangouts, sharing what I'm doing, what's working for me, what's not working for me, where I'm at, what I'm struggling with. Those get a lot more feedback and a lot more views than the structured topic episodes, which I wasn't necessarily surprised by. I think that I had got a little bit stuck in my social media echo chamber for a while. And so I thought that being very specific and very structured and addressing very particular topics would be more popular. But I feel like I am in this space right now where I'm trying to be present and find joy and be grateful for what I have instead of spending all of my time focused on the things that are wrong or bad in the world or in my life. I was getting to a place where I was very low and sad and depressed and honestly just pessimistic. I was getting so deep into the mud and feeling so angry and so just pessimistic. I was really having a hard time seeing the good in anything because I was just getting so stuck into all the bad shit that's going on in the world. And like I've mentioned before, I like to be informed, I like to be educated, and that hasn't changed. But I am trying to prioritize myself a little bit more, prioritize my health, my mental health, because I recognized that I was doing a lot of sabotaging because my mental state was just not healthy. And I was fucking up my life a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was so angry, I was not appreciative, and I just kind of shut down. And not only did that put me in a worse place, but it put the people around me in a worse place as well. And I'm working very hard right now on finding a balanced space for myself to be a human and be a part of the world that I live in, while also being grateful for the things that I have and not getting too sucked into it. Because there is a lot of really terrible, awful things happening in the world right now, but there's also some good stuff too. And it's important to pay attention to both. So today's episode is going to be another kind of hangout, chill update, what I've been doing, how I've been feeling, things that I've tweaked in my routines, things that I am like feeling like are working. We're going to go through all of it. I'm going to talk about a little bit of TV because I've been trying to branch out and watch some different stuff lately. So I'm going to share some of those thoughts. And yeah, we're going to hang out. We're going to redo the episode that I had planned for this week. I'm still going to bring in some of what I talked about into this episode, or re-recording of the episode. But you know, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna chill, we're gonna catch up. It's a cozy Wednesday today, which feels a little bit different for me, but I am nonetheless excited to get into this episode. Okay, so first things first. There's a couple things I'm sure that you're noticing. Number one is that I don't have a coffee today. I have a Red Bull. And, you know, sometimes you just gotta have a Red Bull because the coffee is not gonna cut it. I woke up so tired today. I don't know why. I just did not have a good sleep last night. That's something else that I've tried to been like work on and get more like consistent sleep and more sleep in general, because not getting enough sleep will absolutely ruin you. And so when I'm on my period, I have like crazy insomnia, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just like don't sleep. I'm wide awake. Doesn't matter what I do. I've tried like melatonin, sleepy pills, counting thing, like all the stuff. I've tried like military breathing techniques. And it's just a hormonal thing for me. So right now I'm in this space where if I get a really good sleep in this like week and a half, I am thrilled and I feel on top of the world. But for the most part, I am not getting much sleep for that like week or week and a half kind of surrounding my period. So I'm feeling pretty sleepy today. I was also really grumpy yesterday because of what happened with the uploading process. So it's a Red Bull day. It's a Red Bull day today. I'm also sure that you have noticed that something is a little bit different about me. I do want to talk about it a little bit. I want to talk about tattoos a little bit. I am a tattoo artist, so it's something that I'm passionate about, obviously, and I have quite a few. So, you know, we're going to talk about that a little bit today. I was so nervous to have this done. I'm pretty covered already. Like, I've got stuff all over my hands, my legs, my arms, mid-body also. Like, I've got a pretty good amount of tattoos. I'm at the point where I'm not like counting anymore. I get asked that every once in a while, where someone will be like, how many tattoos do you have now? And I'm like, how do you do that? It's like, number one, it's hard to count because some pieces I have are like, do you count these 3 letters on my fingers as 1 tattoo, or do you count it as 3 tattoo? Like, people just are weird about it. So I stopped counting a really long time ago. If I had to guess, it'd be like 60-ish probably. I am a like patchwork tattoo person personally. I really like the look of it. And I know that some people really disagree with that and hate it, and that's fine. You don't have to do it if you don't like it. It's cool. I definitely have love for like traditional tattoos and sleeves and things that are a little bit more like traditional, but I personally love the patchwork kind of sleeve look. So I have a lot of like small pieces that kind of make up larger pieces, and there just really isn't a way to count that. So if I had to guess, it would probably be around like 50 or 60. I'm kind of pulling that number out of my ass. So yeah, I was really nervous about this. I have wanted this particular tattoo for quite some time. Probably 2-3 years maybe. I saw someone that had, it was much smaller, just like a little butterfly tattoo here. And you can have whatever opinion you want about butterfly tattoos. That's fine. I don't care. It's my body, my choice. I'm always going to believe that for me and for everyone else. I love butterflies. I love the idea of reinventing yourself, coming from one phase of yourself to another. I think that the evolution is just something really beautiful that occurs naturally in nature, and that's just really cool and amazing to me. And the symbolism of it just resonates really deeply. So I have a couple different butterflies, like kind of all over the place in different styles and stuff, but this one was one that was very important to me for a couple of reasons. Not only do I love the butterfly as just its own thing, but I am someone who is also very spiritual, and I am also someone who has not necessarily spoken up for myself or stood up for myself or taken up space other than the last like handful of years. And that's something that I'm trying to feel really secure and comfortable in. And that's part of what this tattoo represents. For people that don't know, your throat chakra is like in your throat. And so for me, the placement is aligned with that. And the moon and the lotus are also kind of the same idea. The moon is something I've always felt really connected to. I get my period almost like to the day in a cycle with the moon, which is like cool magic shit. I'm into all of that. I fully believe all of that. I am wholeheartedly on that side of things. So for me, that's just something I've always felt connected to. The lotus is kind of similar to like the butterfly symbolism, where like a lotus is a flower that grows from the mud primarily. And so something beautiful that comes from something really deep and dark and difficult. So that's, if you've been listening since episode 1, that's me. I've tried my best to come back better from all of the things that have, been really tough in my life. And through all of the experiences that I've had, I have tried to turn that into as much of a positive as I can, take it and evolve into a better version of myself, regardless of what that experience was. And so, kind of like the butterfly, the lotus also feels like something that resonates deeply with me too. And putting it on my throat is partly because that's where your throat chakra is. And so for me, it kind of represents opening up and evolving into someone that takes up space, is not afraid to be loud, speak their mind, be a part of the world. And that's something that's really important to me and that I'm really proud of as far as like who I am as a person. And so that's kind of what this represents. I definitely got some comments. I like had talked about wanting to do it, but I had only actually told my mom and one of my best friends that it was like booked and we were doing it, and like sent them the design that the artist had drawn up for me. And so there was 2 people that like actually knew it was being executed, knew the day, and that it was being done. Otherwise, I totally left it as a surprise for everyone else. And immediately the day of getting the tattoo, I like headed out to spend the weekend with my entire family. So not my entire family, but a large piece of my family, including my grandparents. My grandparents are super cool. They are like a third set of parents to me. I'm very close with them and they're really rad. But they definitely have opinions about my tattoos, and that's okay. Lots of my family does. And a question that I got asked a lot, even when I got my fingers and hands tattooed, was like, how are you going to deal with people looking at you differently? And when it came to my hands, I was kind of at a point where I'm like, like, it's not like I have like "fuck you" like on my fingers or anything like that. None of it's offensive. It's like I have a really poorly done golden snitch from Harry Potter tattooed on my hand. This is my birthday in Roman numeral. Like, none of it's offensive or like terrible, but I definitely do get that there is still people in the world that are very judgmental about tattoos. And, you know, tattoos used to be this like underground thing that was frowned upon by basically everyone that wasn't part of the tattoo world. And so I, you know, I was ready for that. I was prepared for that. At the end of the day, like I said, it's my body, my choice, and I very much believe in like doing what you want to feel good about your body, whether that's tattoos or cosmetic stuff or whatever it is. Tattoos have helped me love my body a little bit more. I think that they're a really great tool for expressing creativity, and I think they're also a really great tool for just like decorating your body in a way that feels good to you. You know, we're all gonna die one day. My body is going to die one day, and I will most likely end up on someone's fireplace mantle. And like, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, you know? Like, one day we're all gonna be in the ground or in a jar or as a tree or whatever you choose to do with your body when you die. It's all temporary. And I think that tattoos for me are just an expression of art, an expression of self. And I think it's really cool to just like have cool art that's like meaningful and like represents the people that you love and the memories that you have. I think tattoos are beautiful. And so for me, I was just kind of like, I just want to look cool and like put cool things on my body. And I'm not really worried about what other people think about it. And, you know, I work for myself. I don't see that changing. Even if I go some sort of different route eventually with my career, I'm still going to be working for myself. I don't think I could go back to working for someone else after spending so much time being independent and, you know, running my own shit. I have become very comfortable in being the one in charge and in control. And yeah, I think long term, like the things that people kind of have as like little arguments, like, well, what if you have to get another job? Like, well, I don't want to work for someone that thinks tattoos make me a criminal anyways. Like, for me, it's just not a thing that I consider, because if I'm walking down the street and I see someone covered in tattoos, I'm like, sick, that's my kind of person. They look like they're cool and friendly. And I get that lots of people don't feel that way, and that's fine, but you're just not my person anyways. Now, the other question that I've gotten about this is pain. Obviously, that's like one of the main things I feel like you get asked if you have tattoos anywhere of any kind, is how much did it hurt? Because it's needles. Like, every tattoo hurts, okay? I just want to be so clear. None of my tattoos have been comfortable. There's definitely different levels of comfortability and pain, obviously, and like people have different pain tolerances too. So something that I thought was god awful, someone else could feel totally fine with, and vice versa. And I'm so sorry, but for me, honestly, this was fine. I did not find this bad at all. It was easily tolerable. The hardest part about it was breathing, because when you're getting a tattoo, they have to stretch the skin really tight so that you're not getting any bounce or feedback from the skin, and you can pull a really clean line and make sure that you're like implanting the ink properly. And so the hardest part is just like someone is like, I can't really touch it because it's still healing, but like pressing down on your throat, and you're trying to breathe like in a regular kind of rhythm so that like they can kind of plan, because like both of the tattoo artists' hands were like on my throat as we're tattooing. One has a tattoo machine, the other hand is like stretching and pulling. So you're trying to like breathe at a regular pace so that they can kind of gauge what the movement will be. Because like, as because as you're breathing, your chest is moving. Obviously, that's how it works. So their hands are moving a little bit while they're tattooing, and you're like trying to be rhythmic about it so they can kind of like predict when they're going to have to know. But it's just hard because you're a little bit nervous. It hurts a little bit. Like it wasn't like fun to get it, but I don't know. It just wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like pain wise, I thought it was going to be pretty bad, and I was going to be like gritting my teeth through it. If I would have been able to not think about my breathing, I would have fallen asleep. 100%. Like I did not think it was that bad. And to be fair, like it's not huge. It didn't take very long. I honestly don't know exactly how long it took. I wasn't really paying any attention. Like maybe an hour, maybe a little bit more than that. I'm not even sure. Which I also think is a good sign that I was just like, nah, it's fine. I don't know how long it took. Just do your thing. But yeah, it was great. So this is now part of my first impression. If I have like a hoodie on, it comes to like here and you can kind of see a little bit of it, which is kind of also what I wanted, like a little bit of like a peekaboo situation. Because I do love the aspect of winter to summer with tattoos. And anyone with tattoos will know this. Anyone that's like pretty heavily tattooed will get this feeling. When it's wintertime and cold, if you live somewhere that's like cold enough that you have to be bundled, you've got long sleeves, long pants, socks, shoes, sometimes a scarf, like hoodies, jackets, like you're covered most of the time because it's too cold not to be. And then spring and summer arrives and you get to wear t-shirts and tank tops and shorts and skirts and dresses and stuff like that. And you're like a whole new person, honestly. Like I definitely got some tattoos over the winter, and the next time that I see my family, when it's like nice weather and I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, they're gonna be like, what the fuck did you do? Because it's like a surprise. You're like two different people almost. I definitely love the idea that like I just get to reveal all of this rad, cool art when the weather turns nice and warm. It's just an aspect of having tattoos that like I think is kind of cool. But yeah, this one will probably be visible most of the year. My hands obviously are visible unless I have gloves on, so that's kind of whatever. But I am stoked. I'm very stoked. It's the first time I've had a tattoo done in an obvious place for a while. My hands have been done for a bit, and it just feels cool to finally have it done. I printed out temporary tattoo versions of it a couple of different times to wear for a couple of days just to see if I like actually liked the placement, which 10 out of 10 would recommend doing that. Whether you are, you know, a tattoo artist yourself and you're trying to figure something out, or if you're wanting to get a tattoo, you can order temporary tattoo like paper on Amazon or from anywhere, literally. I got mine from Amazon a while ago. I know that Amazon sucks, I'm so sorry, but that's where I got it from. And you just put it in your printer, like you can use it in your regular printer at home. And all you have to do is have your design, print it on the paper, and then you like squeegee the sticky stuff on top, cut it out, and you got a temporary tattoo that you just like put the wet cloth on, like the classic ones you would get at kids, like parties and stuff. So, I don't know. I just found that really helpful. I find a lot of people that come to me to book tattoos, they know the design that they want and like the concept of the tattoo that they want, but a lot of times people are unsure on where to put it. And sometimes, like, depending on what you want, if you're wanting something really detailed, it's going to have to be pretty big because otherwise as it ages, it's going to blur out and it won't look good. So, there has been the odd time that someone's brought me something and they want it, let's say, on their wrist. And I'm like, well, I'm so sorry, but like your wrist isn't quite big enough. This is going to look like shit in like 5 or 10 years because it's way too detailed to be that small. And then we're kind of stuck. And, you know, in the event that that happens, we wait until they figure out a placement that they're comfortable with. Like I don't push people to do a tattoo when they're not ready. It's on you for life. But yeah, I found that the temporary tattoo method was great. I got to kind of try out different placements, pop it around, and they're so easy to take off. Like you literally just scrub it with like soap and water. Easy. But it helped me a lot figuring out where I wanted to put it, if I was comfortable having it sit there also all the time. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. I've had a couple of friends and family use the leftover paper that I have to do the same thing. And it helps take away some of the guesswork because you get to wear it for a couple of days. And, I've had clients like draw with like a Sharpie on their skin and stuff. And like, FYI, Sharpies should not be on your skin. Just because it says non-toxic doesn't mean it's skin safe. Okay, let's remember that. But yeah, it's an accurate way. You can print exactly what you want. You can put it in the size you want, where you want, and you can like move it around and try different stuff out. So I found that was really helpful for me because I kind of got used to having the piece there before just being like, well, like this is my throat now. Like I've committed. Like, you can't go back once it's done. I mean, technically you can with laser removal and stuff like that, but you're going to spend so much money, and laser is wildly uncomfortable compared to getting the tattoo. I've never had anything removed with a laser, but I do have friends and family that have, and they are bad reviews as far as pain. So it works really well for most people, but you got to know that like you're going to spend a lot more money, a lot more time. Sometimes there's scarring, sometimes it doesn't totally work. So you definitely have to be like mindful too of like, if you're going to get a tattoo, be sure about the tattoo that you want. It doesn't need to be this like special whole big meaning thing. As long as you love it, that's all that matters. But make sure you love it because tattoos are permanent. Okay, so I'm going to hop on to the next topic. I had an interesting experience surrounding age this past week that I want to talk about. And so I had kind of a cool perspective, and I wanted to hear some people's thoughts on it. So I am not typically one that like takes a bunch of selfies and posts them on social media. I very much used to be in that space. Just as I've aged and gotten older, it's just not something that interests me. Not to say that I don't post any selfies, like I do, but definitely not as frequently, and that's part of what I'm going to talk about. So I was away with my family this past weekend for our hometown's fish fry, which was phenomenal. It always is. It's like one of my favorite events of the year. I'm from a very small town, Saskatchewan, and so there's a Lions Club out there. My grandpa is the president of the Lions Club, and my family has always taken part in it. And they put on a fish fry in the spring and rib fest in the fall as like a fundraiser. They cook up a bunch of fish or ribs. I'm not a rib person, so I don't typically go to the rib fest, but they do a bunch of fish. Usually there's a couple different kinds. They like deep fry, grill, and season, and there's a couple different ones you can pick from. There's like fries and coleslaw. It's like just a classic like fish meal, And yeah, it's like a fundraiser for the Lions Club. And so I was there this weekend, and I have been working really hard on prioritizing myself and my self-care and just like doing things that make me feel good. And so I decided I was going to get a little done up for the fish fry. And as I'm thinking about that now, done up for me was like an AC/DC fitted t-shirt and leopard print pants, which I'm sure some people would not think is fancy or like done up, but it's not a sweatsuit. So for me, it's done up. And it looked rad also. I'm a big fan of red and leopard print. I don't think that's revolutionary at all. That's not new. But for me, I just love that combo. So it's just something, it feels like fierce to me, like some red, whether it's like your shoes or some lipstick or like something, and some leopard print. Like I'm just like, yes, that's a combo. Okay, so that was my outfit combo. I did my hair. I like fully blow dried my hair, which I hate doing. I have very fine hair, but I have a lot of it, so it takes fucking forever and it's exhausting. But I did blow dry my hair, and I straightened my hair. I did the whole 9 yards, put on makeup, and I was feeling myself. I felt really good. I felt like extra pretty. and the light was coming into my grandparents' home in like the perfect way. So I was like, you know what? We're taking a selfie today. So I take a picture and I'm like, damn, yep, I look good. I'm going to post that. And so I post it, and I was like waiting for it to upload, and I'm just looking at my like Instagram feed, and it was very interesting because I started to scroll a little bit. Every once in a while I'll go through my feed and kind of like take out things that either like haven't aged well or just don't like resonate with me. When I was younger, I'm specifically thinking of a picture. I was probably like 19 or 20, and I was out partying in like one of my friend's backyard, and I had a bong in one hand and I think a Colt 45 in the other hand, and like the beer Colt 45. Just yeah. And so I don't know what possessed me to like ask someone to take a photo of me, because at this point also weed was not legalized. So like, what are you doing? But I posted this picture of me holding a giant bong and a Colt 45 beer in the other hand, and I was like doing some weird like like I was drunk. You could tell that I was drunk. And so stuff like that, where I'm just like, this doesn't need to live on my feed. This is ridiculous. Like, it brings a little bit of joy because I'm like, you were 19 and a dumbass. And, you know, it's kind of funny to look back on those moments and be like, holy man, what were you doing? But every once in a while I'll go through and I'll get rid of all those old pictures because I'm like, this is not the person that I am anymore. So we're going to get rid of some of these. And so I'm going through and I'm looking, and I had this weird like moment where I could see the progression of my self-love in my pictures. And I'm going to explain that a little bit, but it was just this odd moment where, you know, as someone that is very focused on like personal evolution and believes in the importance of that and always trying to be a better version of yourself, it felt very rewarding to be able to see myself in periods of time where I know that I was like extremely insecure, did not feel good about myself, hated my body, was very mean to myself, like internal dialogue was not good. And to see that kind of like fade away through the pictures that I was taking of myself. And it's interesting because I feel like some people would have the perspective that the less I post in that kind of way, the less comfortable I'm feeling with myself. And it's actually the opposite. And I just had this kind of like light bulb moment, because in the periods of time where I have felt really down about my physical appearance and was very focused on that, my worth was very much like rooted in that. I was posting constant selfies, constantly. And the reason for that is because I'm looking for that external validation, because I'm not able to give that to myself. I'm not able to look at a picture and say like, oh yeah, you look great. I was taking those pictures and posting them hoping that other people would tell me that I looked great so that I could believe it. And that is not okay. That's not okay. It made me a little sad to like think about just being in that space again. I felt sad for my younger self, and I do appreciate, you know, all the things that you go through bring you to where you're at, and that's cool, but it sucks that sometimes to reach the point of being healthy, you got to go through the shit first. It's kind of a, you know, catch-22 there. But it was very interesting because I was probably, like I said, like 19 to about 25, like that kind of period of time. I was wildly insecure. I was in a relationship with someone who was like unfaithful the entire time we were together. And that doesn't help either. I was just not in a good space mentally. I was partying and doing drugs and drinking constantly and just mentally so unwell. But I was posting constant pictures of myself. And like, I never went super far into being half naked, but I definitely was looking for validation, for sure, put it that way. And it's very interesting to see the progression of my pictures go from like very posed and filtered and face tuned and like all of that garbage shit. Just editing myself to like barely even look like me, to a point where I'm like, I avoid using the filters and I smile in my pictures. I take one and I'm like, yeah, that's good, instead of standing in front of like a selfie light and taking like 20 pictures and analyzing each one of them, picking the best one and then editing it. Like, the time and the energy that I was putting into trying to make myself like look a certain way to feel better about myself, versus Saturday when I walked over to the window, took the picture, looked at it, was like, dope, center. It felt so good. Like, I felt so proud of myself that there wasn't even like a split second in my brain where I was looking at that picture. I didn't even think to be like, oh, that doesn't look great, or no, your teeth aren't very white, or like just something, you know, like there wasn't any of that. I just looked at the picture, was like, that's a good picture, we should post that. Posted it. And I had this moment with myself where I'm like waiting and watching it, where I'm going from like rows and rows of just selfies to pictures of my family and my friends and like the things that I'm doing and the adventures that I'm going on and the trips that I'm taking. And I'm smiling in all of the pictures instead of the like pose. I laughed a little bit at myself because every selfie that I took when I was younger is like the exact same pose, but a different outfit and in like a different location. And it was just a really rewarding and like cool feeling to get that hard of an example of growth and like healing. And it's crazy. I'm like getting a little bit emotional now. Like I feel a little bit of like a lump in my throat thinking about it, just because I spent such a long time just hating myself, hating what I looked like, being so cruel to myself, treating my body in such like unhealthy, horrible ways. And I've reached this point in my life. I've worked so hard to get to a place where I am comfortable and like accepting of my body. And I talk about this a lot. We know that I'm very passionate about this. And the reason for that is because I spent years so uncomfortable and hateful towards myself. And I don't want anyone to feel that way. And that's why I'm so passionate about like your physical appearance is the least important thing about you. And like there's bigger things to worry about. Like, who are you as a person? What are your morals? How do you show up in the world? Those are the things people talk about. Those are the things people remember. And, you know, I've been to a lot of funerals and not a single one has mentioned how someone dressed, how they did their makeup, how they did their hair, what their body looked like, what size they were. There's not a word about any of that. And so I'm like trying not to get crazy emotional. I did not expect this. When I was talking about this in the other recording, it did not hit me like this. So this is interesting. But I felt really happy and proud to know that the work that I've done and the love that I've given myself has actually healed a part of me. You know, self-work and personal development can feel really defeating. We're going to take a sip of Red Bull. Okay. it can be really defeating. It feels really hard a lot of the time, and it takes a long time. It's not easy. It's not a quick fix. Like, there isn't any form of personal development that works that way. It's really hard work, and sometimes you just want to give up and, not care about it. But I've spent a lot of time, I've spent a lot of money, and, it's nice to have those moments where you get to see the payoff of your work, whether it's internal or external. And so I'm just feeling good about where I'm at in that space, even though there's other things that are like weighing heavily and are on my plate right now. It was kind of like this shining moment for me where, in the midst of all the other things that I'm trying to juggle and work through right now, it was almost like this like little universal reminder that, like, hey, this shit works. Like, keep doing it. That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to wrap that up because I started getting so emotional and I did not expect that at all, which is fine. I'm not like afraid of doing that on camera or anything like that, but I don't necessarily want to be like sobbing here. So, yeah, we're going to move on to a different topic, but I just wanted to share that moment because I know how hard personal work and development and evolution can be. And I know that sometimes you kind of end up feeling like a to-do list that you're never going to be able to catch up with. You're going to catch up. It works. It might take a while, but it's so worth it to put your work into yourself and see the payoff of that, to see your strength and your resilience, and just to feel some pride. The work is worth it. Okay, now the last couple of things I want to talk about, this will be a little lengthy, but I have been trying to branch out a little bit with the media that I am taking in. So like TV, music, socials, that kind of thing. I'm kind of trying to rewire my algorithms right now because, like I said earlier, I was getting very much into an echo chamber situation where I was like so wildly angry just all the time. I felt like the world was ending, my world was ending, and yeah, it was so dark. So I've been trying to kind of curb that a little bit. I recognize a big piece of why I'm feeling so mentally exhausted and low is because of the content that I was consuming. I have control over that. That's my choice. And so, I got to do something about it. And so part of that is, working on my algorithm with social media, interacting with more like happy, grateful content than just the world is ending, doom and gloom. And I'm also trying to do more of that with like music and TV. With music, I'm very kind of tunnel visioned. And so I'm trying to branch out a little bit. I have a hard time with new music because music and movies I'm very particular with. Okay, so I just had to pause because someone came by outside and my parents' dog absolutely lost his shit. So yeah, we're just gonna be transparent. I was gonna try and like do some recording, editing stuff, but you know what? That's life. He's chilling now, so we're good. But I was talking about music and how I kind of have tunnel vision when it comes to that. And I think with TV too, I am picky with the movies and the music that I listen to. I very much am like a comfort watcher or comfort like listener. I don't branch out very often unless I'm kind of forced to. So like whether I end up watching something because someone that is in my life wants to watch it, or someone sends me a song, or I hear a song on the radio or something and it just clicks. Unless I have like a very confident, secure, like, hey, you like this kind of feeling, I don't usually give it a try. And so I'm trying to change that a little bit. I'm trying to be more open-minded. I think that that is definitely an ADHD thing for me. Like, unless it has my focus, it doesn't. That's just kind of like how it works for me. And so it takes a lot for me to find something that can like fully hold my attention, that I don't feel like I have to like also be on my phone or something else where I'm not getting like enough stimulation. And that is also part of just like growing up in the world that we live in, where we're constantly doing multiple things, we're hearing multiple things. It's hard to just turn your brain off and hone in on one thing at a time. So, I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to branch out a little bit. I'm trying to try new things, even if I'm not instantly like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm trying to stick it out. So I have watched a couple things in the last couple of weeks that have been really great. I have watched one show that was awful. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But yeah, I have been trying to branch out a little bit. Music as well. I've been trying to do that. I completely got rid of all of my playlists, and I'm very specific with my playlists. When it comes to music, I have a playlist for everything. Like the most ridiculous scenario. If I'm in a situation, I'm like, you know what? I really want to listen to this kind of music right now. I make a playlist for it. So I could have a playlist for like sitting in the backyard with my feet in a paddling pool, or skiing, or, a rainy day, going to the lake, driving to the mountain. Like there's very specific vibes that I go with. And I also have playlists for each of my favorite artists. And there's not very many. There's like, I would say a staple, maybe 5 or 6 that have kind of moved with me since discovering them. Spotify Wrapped kind of gives you an idea into that. This last Spotify Wrapped was garbage, and so I don't really know how much stock to put into it. But for me, I can say absolutely for sure, John Mayer, Mac Miller, Mayday, Greaves, and Ariana Grande have been in my rotation, at least in some way, since I discovered them. And so, people will have their opinions about everyone. That's fine. Whatever. But each of those artists has music that has carried me through some sort of life experience. I connect really deeply to some of their music, if not all of their music, and it's very impactful to me. I'm someone that feels music on a very deeply emotional level. It invokes a lot of feeling for me. And so, I don't know, I just kind of felt like it was time to do a redo. I was struggling a little bit with letting go of artists that are not good people. And that's hard. As much as people want to have their opinions about it and cancel culture and all of that stuff, I used to very much be the person that was like, I can separate the art from the artist. And there is some scenarios where I can do that. But when it comes down to evil shit, that's just bad and dangerous, harmful. Okay, we had to pause again. I'm in a room at my house where the dog doesn't like to go because there's no carpet. And if you have a dog, I'm sure you understand that. But he's sad because he can't come hang out with me. And so I laid down a blanket to help him get down the stairs, but it's not really working. So we're going to see how that goes. We might have to pause again, but it's fine. Back to talking about music. I basically I am trying to branch out. I was having trouble with letting go of people that I had listened to for a really long time. And it got to a point where, I'm trying to show up and be educated and informed about all the things in the world. And music is something that's very impactful to me. And I just kind of got to a point where I was like, if music is so impactful and evokes such an emotional response in me. Do I want to be feeling that way listening to music from someone that I like morally don't agree with or don't think is a good person? Like, why would I want to consume something that is like such an emotional and like energetic thing from someone that I don't support? So I did go through all of my music, all my playlists. I got rid of a lot. Features too. If the person was featured on a song, got the boot. I'm trying to like show up in the way that I believe I should in all facets, whether it's publicly or not. Because who you are behind closed doors is who you are. So music and media is a part of that. And so I will freely admit, when I was younger, I used to listen to Drake almost exclusively. Like I was a ride or die Drake fan. I went and saw him in concert. He was in like all of my playlists. I was a big fan. And I'm not anymore. To say the least, I'm not going to get into anything about Drake, but that was, you know, a good example, I feel like, of one that it was a big part of my music library, and I was resistant to getting rid of it for a while, and then it just came down to like, if I don't agree with who he is as a person, why do I want to support him in any way? So he got the boot. A couple other people got the boot. Anyone that was at the inauguration got the boot. With my business right now, I'm trying to only pay for supplies and companies and everything that are not US based or owned. And so, you know, if I'm going to put my money where my morals are, I got to put everything else where my morals are too. Music, media, it's all got to be aligned. And so for me, that meant deleting all of my playlists and starting from scratch again, basically. So I have my favorites, like I have a playlist of all my favorite John Mayer songs and all of blah, blah, blah. But I am trying to rebuild those a little bit, branch out. Spotify has a lot of good options for like pre-curated playlists, which are really great, which was actually part of the reason that I swapped from Apple Music to Spotify. I was an avid Apple Music user for a very long time, and their playlists suck. Their curated playlists suck. I hated it. It was not good. I will say, though, I miss the library. I miss having an entire library that's organizable and that I don't have to put work into. Like if you add a song to a playlist, it was just automatically added to your library. And Spotify is not like that. You can kind of use your liked playlists that way, but it's not as organized. I don't love that. It's a little bit of a sticking point for me. So it makes it a little bit harder to like recreate my playlists again. I have one ginormous playlist called All the Music That I Love, and anything that I add to anything in my Spotify also gets added to that playlist. So I've kind of like created my own library, sort of. Yeah, I'm kind of in a space where I'm sick of all the music I've been listening to. A lot of it is like music I've been listening to for literal decades. And it's still great. I still love it, but I just need some freshness, you know? Chapel Roan is probably the newest artist I've added, which like, obviously. Yeah, I'm looking for new music, basically is what I'm trying to say. Music is something that is super important to me, and I think it tells a lot about a person. And I think that sharing music with people is a love language. I know that's not listed as like one of the 5 or 6, but it should be. So yeah, I'm probably going to put a poll up. I want new music. Share some new music with me. If you want, I'm pretty sure my Spotify is all public stuff. So like you could look through and see kind of what my vibe is, but indie rock, R&B, a little bit of hip hop. That's kind of it. Some pop. There's some pop in there for sure. I listen to pretty much anything. The older I get, the less rap and country I listen to, which are very different things and for very different reasons. But I'm from small town Saskatchewan. I don't hate country. I like some of it. That's probably a controversial opinion. I don't know why people are so divided on country music, but that's fine. I definitely enjoy some country music. I haven't really ventured out too much of the new stuff, like in years. But a lot of the old country music I do definitely enjoy. Some Garth Brooks, some Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, that kind of stuff. Ancient. That's ancient now. But that's kind of the country music I listen to. So you can send me anything. I will give it a chance. Scout's honor. I will give it a chance. Okay. I will give it a listen through. If I don't like it, I don't like it. But if you send me some music, I will play it. And I will appreciate you very much. Now, with like movies and TV, a little bit different. I would say I'm probably more picky with movies and TV. I can't really say why that is. I'm still looking for another therapist. We'll maybe figure that out once I find one. But I am definitely more picky than I am with music. And I'm a comfort watcher. This is also an ADHD thing and like a trauma PTSD thing. It's hard for me to watch new shows because the element of surprise causes me anxiety. And like, as I say that out loud, I'm like, that's silly. Like, girl. But that's reality. That's reality. That's how my mind works. And so, yeah, I rewatch the same things over and over and over and over and over again. I have seen Grey's Anatomy, Vampire Diaries. I've seen all of my favorite shows like 10 times over. I am like queen of quotes. Like, I play my shit to death, okay? And as I get older, I'm trying really hard to watch things that I haven't watched or be open to things that I haven't been open to. And so I've branched out a little bit. All right, third time's charm. Last pause. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I'm a little bit less picky about the genre. I definitely tend to go more like true crime, documentary. I like sitcoms are hard. I find a lot of new TV is very Hallmarky almost. I enjoyed the era of comedy of like Seth Rogen and Vince Vaughn and Will Ferrell. And I understand that most of that stuff has not aged well. Most of it is not politically correct. I am someone that, takes part very vocally in being politically correct and respectful and, treating everyone like humans. Comedy is hard for me with that. I do definitely enjoy a lot of those old comedy movies, and I do feel like a lot of the new media that's coming out is very cookie cutter Hallmarky, almost as if it's all made for kids is kind of the feel that I get. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I haven't had a lot of things media-wise with like movies or TV come out and have me be really excited about them for quite some time, because I feel like it's too careful. And that's not to say that I think things should be offensive. Like, comedians don't get a pass just because they're comedians. You can't just be a dick or like be racist or anything like that just because you're a comedian or making a comedy movie. But comedy is satire. And so, there's part of that you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. And so, yeah, I've just been trying to like find new things to watch, whether it's a TV show or whether it's a movie. And so I've actually found I watched 2 separate series in the last couple of weeks. And I also watched a new show. Actually, I don't think it's like brand new, but I did watch a new show. The show was horrible, but the series that I watched. One was a true crime documentary, and one was a commentary on violence against women in the UK. And I'll get into all these, but I do love some reality TV. I'm not gonna lie. Love Island UK is like my ride or die when it comes to reality TV. I love that show. I am addicted to that show. It's not good, but I can't stop watching. They're starting to do All Stars seasons now where like they bring back people that like didn't end up in couples. I'm not going to go into how Love Island works. If you haven't watched it, that's fine. But that's kind of my like go-to one. I've broken into like Love is Blind and The Ultimatum and those kinds of things a little bit, but they tend to lose me a little. The first couple seasons of Love is Blind I thought were quite good because I thought that there was at least a few people that were there for like genuine reasons. At this point, I feel like everyone on all of the like romantic dating shows are just there to like fuck other people and not care about their relationship and just like get famous. And so in my opinion, if you're already kind of making the choice to go on that show, you probably shouldn't be with your partner and like maybe aren't ready to be a partner. And that was absolutely the case with this show that I watched. I watched Temptation Island, and no hate if you enjoyed it, but it was hard to watch for me. Basically the premise, it's very similar to The Ultimatum actually. Very similar vibes for like the basis of the show. Essentially, it's 4 couples that are at a crossroads in their relationships. So they go to this island, they split up. I can't remember how long it is. It's a week or 2 weeks, I think. The boys are in a villa with 12 single women, and the women are in a villa with 12 single men. And now I'm sure you clocked that I used the word boys. And I did that on purpose. It was hard to watch. Honestly, it was really hard to watch. Right off the bat, when they're introducing all the couples, I'm like, none of you should be together. There was one couple where I was like, all right, you might be able to work this out. And to be fair, that one couple did work it out and they ended the show getting engaged and they are still together. And so like, I love that for them. The other 3 couples. They were awful. Okay. They were terrible. The women I felt like did pretty good. There was a very stark difference in how the women approached things to how the boys approached things. And I'll be honest, the women talked shit. There was some like name calling and just kind of nasty words said about their partners in the other villas. And that's never okay. Okay. I'm going to say that right now. Being nasty for the sake of being nasty, just because you're hurt, is still not okay. But the contrast between the way that the women dealt with the disrespect that their partners were giving them versus the boys handling the disrespect that the women were giving were like totally different levels, okay? For example, one of the women called her partner or said that her partner had bitch tendencies. That's mean, okay? And I'm smirking a little bit because the person she was talking about was super disrespectful, very immature, very boy-like. And so is she wrong? No. Is that the way to put it? Also no. You could have just said that like he was immature and disrespectful, and that would not be a lie. That would be true. And like, if the truth hurts, take a look in the mirror. I don't know what to say about that. So the language is unkind, okay? Disrespectful, not nice. But the girls, okay, so I should have explained this. Throughout the time that they're in the villas, they get to see clips of what their partners are doing. And so the boys see the nasty things that their partners are saying about them. But the girls are seeing their boys have threesomes and sex in the shower and reusing phrases from their relationship with the single girls and like just blatantly being disrespectful immediately. Like day one, there was a dude that went and had sex with one of the single girls in a shower and then was mad because his partner in the other villa said in the clip that she didn't want to wait forever for him to act right. And he like lost his shit about it when he had cheated. So like I'm sure you can see like the gears in my brain are just like, how? Like how did you arrive at that conclusion that like you've been disrespected? I don't know. It was a really hard watch, honestly. Like I said, name calling and like speaking disrespectfully about your partner is not okay. I don't excuse that. But using that as like a get out of jail free card for sleeping with someone other than your partner or having a threesome with two other people that are not your partner, you know, it's just not, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. And unfortunately, I do believe that like if someone is talking shit about you, sometimes it comes from a place of jealousy and it's untrue. But a lot of times when it's in a relationship and a woman is acting crazy, as a lot of people would like to put about their exes, there's a reason that they're acting crazy. If I hear from someone like my ex was crazy, I'm like, the fuck did you do to make them crazy? Because people aren't just crazy for the sake of it, for the most part. Okay? In the grand scheme of things, there's a reason for that behavior. There's a reason they're talking shit. There's a reason that they're being disrespectful and like using name calling and stuff like that. Usually that's coming from a place of hurt or betrayal or something like along those lines. And so it was, I don't know, it was so disappointing to like, you know, these people are saying that they're going on these shows to repair and like enforce trust and all of this stuff with their partner. And then they just go have a threesome with two people in a bathroom. And it's not good. The whole show was not good. I was so disappointed the whole time. I was yelling at the TV the whole time. And I'm here for reality TV. I'm here for the drama. You know, it's fine. I enjoy watching that kind of content. But it was like, how bad can these people be? Was like what I felt like I was watching. And I was just like, this is terrible. Like, I'm just, break up. Like, just break up. Like, you obviously hate each other. Like, why are you with this person? Like, I don't know. It was mind-blowing to me. And not very many people in my life close to me have watched it. And so I'm kind of just letting out my thoughts here because I don't have anyone to share them with that like gets it. But I did say to one of my friends and a couple of clients actually about watching this show. And I said, it's like a car crash. Okay. And we can all relate to this. When you're driving down the street and you see a car accident, regardless of the damage or like scale, you look at the car accident and you're like, if someone's with you, you're like, oh, I wonder what happened. It looks like this car did this. And like, you drive by like this, like you look the whole time. You're looking at the car accident. You know it's bad, but you can't look away. And that's how Temptation Island felt to me. It was not good. It was not good. I did not enjoy it. 10 out of 10 would not recommend Temptation Island. It kind of turned me off of reality TV a little bit. And it almost just kind of felt like, look at how terrible these people are. And I don't want to do that. I would rather watch good people and like reaffirm that like not everything and everyone sucks. So I did not enjoy Temptation Island. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that if you've also watched it, because I don't have anyone close to me that watched the series. So it was gnarly, honestly. Now, the other two things I watched, I really enjoyed. I actually thought were very good. One of them was a true crime documentary, and it was on Disney Plus. And I think it's also on Hulu if you have that. I think that's a United States thing. It was very good. It was called The Fox Hollow Murders. There was it's got a longer title, but that's the beginning of it. I can't talk about it too much because I'm going to say spoilers and not even realize it. But if you're into true crime and you have Disney Plus or Hulu or you sail the high seas, I think that you should watch it because it was wild. I think it was the first episode, the detectives on the case or that were like dealing with the case. I still, like, part of me still can't wrap my head around it, but it was the largest collection of bone and bone fragments, like the largest search and like I'm not really sure what the word is that I'm looking for, but largest collection of bones and bone fragments in the US since 9/11. And like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, I'm in. Like, I have to watch this. This is wild. Like, that's a insane statistic. And yeah, it's a wild story right off the bat. They just, they hit the ground running. Crazy shit happens right off the bat. And then, yeah, they kind of take you through like re-exploring the case or cases. Cause obviously like it was like over 9,000 pieces of bone fragment. Like, it was crazy. So if you're into true crime, murdery stuff, the Fox Hollow Murders is very good. That's all I can say about it because I'm just going to spout spoilers and I don't want to be that person, but it was very good and very interesting. And I was honestly surprised at the fact that I had not heard a single thing about it until this documentary. Like, I feel like it should be more common knowledge. But yeah, so I recommend watching that. And I also watched a series called Adolescence on Netflix, and I'm sure you've seen lots about it. There's been lots of commentary online about it. But it is a 4-episode series, and it is fictional, but it's based on the statistics, very high statistics of violence against women in the UK. So this isn't a spoiler, but the show is kind of like lots of crime shows, I feel like, are a whodunit kind of thing. Right off the bat, we know who did it. There's video evidence. We know what the crime is. And the show explores how and why he did it instead. And there's also a very big theme of just the divide that currently exists between men and women. And it is a UK film, so it's like based in the UK. But they talk about Andrew Tate and the manosphere and incels and, a very large piece of our population that believes that women are lesser beings than men just because we're women. And just the treatment that comes along with that and the violence that comes along with that. And it is extremely dangerous. I am quite educated on that topic. And so I was drawn to it because I thought, it's something that more people need to be aware of. I also think it's something parents need to be more aware of with the access that kids have to the internet. You can only do so much, but being aware of the content that your kids are like watching and taking in and following on social media is huge. This show, Adolescence, follows a 13-year-old boy that stabbed his classmate to death because she rejected him. And a lot of his beliefs come from following people on the internet like Andrew Tate. And they address that. The parents say, like, he was in his room playing computer games. Like, we thought everything was fine. But he was taking in all of this content, essentially brainwashing him to believe that women owed him everything. And when he wasn't given that, he killed his classmate. And that's not a spoiler. They show it in the first episode. That's what the whole thing is about. And we know immediately that he did it. And it was it was an intense watch. Each episode is shot in one take, so it's beautifully done. The writing is really, really wonderfully done. And the emotion and the energy that is conveyed is also really well done. It was like, I honestly think it's one of the best series that I've watched in a while. All parts of it I really liked. I think they did a very good job of showing both sides of things, showing how easily the 13-year-old boy was influenced, how easily it can happen, how he didn't really even understand the impact and like the hold that those beliefs and that influence like had on him. He understood what he did, he understood his consequences, but throughout the entire series, he maintains that he did nothing wrong, even though he admits that he killed her. Like, it's a very good exploration of both ends of that spectrum. Women dealing with violence against them for simply being who they are and kind of battling that manosphere, masculine, misogynistic viewpoint. And it also did a very good job of exploring the way that it happens, especially with kids, like young men. You know, there's lots of commentary right now online about the red pill and how a lot of young men are leaning quite far right. And a part of that is because of the influence of the people that are on the internet right now. And there isn't enough monitoring and control around the media that young men and kids are taking in. And there's like, one of the most common sayings about kids is that they have brains like sponges. And so even if they watch 5 short little minute-long videos, all it takes is one for them to reel them in, and then they look up to this person, and that person, whatever they spouse, is gospel, you know? So adolescence was extremely good. As a woman, as someone that used to nanny and dealt with kids for a really long time, you know, I'm not a parent, and I'm not going to speak on that. I know a lot of people have very divided opinions about people that don't have kids speaking about having kids. I worked with kids for a really long time. I was a primary caregiver for kids for quite some time. That was my job. And so while I am not a parent and don't have my own children, I understand what it's like to care for them and have to be in charge of them and their safety and the way that they interact with the people around them. And, you know, you have your own life as a parent, and it's a full-time job to be a parent on top of the other things that you're doing. But I think adolescence shows the importance of being present and just being aware of what your kid is doing with their time, especially on the internet. The internet is a very dangerous place if you don't know how to navigate it in a smart way, in a logical way. And a lot of kids are able to do that to a point, but they're kids. You know, they don't know how to do that a lot of time. They don't know how to safely navigate the internet unless they've been shown how to do that. And I just thought that it was a super impactful series for me. I really enjoyed it. It was beautifully done. And I do 10 out of 10 recommend watching Adolescence because, yeah, I thought it was really great. Okay, so this actually ended up being longer than the episode I had recorded previously that didn't want to upload. So that's kind of cool. It's like almost double the length. I'm sure once I edit it, it'll be a little shorter, but I feel pretty good about it. I did have to pause a couple times to deal with the pup, but you know, that comes with the territory. It's okay. Yeah, I'm happy that I got this re-recorded. I was gonna skip this episode and just be like, you know what? I didn't want to upload. That's a sign from the universe. It's telling me not to do this one. I don't know. I woke up this morning and I was really tired, but I was like, I can do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do it again. So I'm glad that it went the way that it did. I have more content than I did with the other recording that I had. So all in all, I think it's worked out for the best. So we are going to wrap up the second episode of season 2. That still sounds kind of crazy to me, honestly, that we're like in season 2. But I am extra excited because I have a themed episode for the next one. It's going to release a day early. And if you know the calendar, the next episode is supposed to come out on the 21st of April, which is Easter Monday. Part of the reason I don't want to do that is because I got Easter family stuff going on. Another part of why I don't want to do that is because the day before, on the Sunday, is 420. And as we know, I do smoke weed. And while I don't typically use that as my like identifier, 420 is like a fun little holiday and it's a Sunday. And I just thought that it would be kind of fun to do a themed episode. So we are going to have a theme for 420 in the next episode. I'm not going to be filming it here because this is my parents' house and that is not allowed. But I do have some stuff lined up to have a bit of a more fun location. I'm kind of hoping the weather is nice. I might try to do it outside. We'll see. I have some thoughts, but we're going to come next episode. Episode 3 of season 2 is going to be a themed episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. I may or may not have a guest lined up. First guest of the podcast. And yeah, I'm just excited. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a little bit more silly and super laid back, obviously. But we're going to celebrate 420 together and a little bit of Easter probably too. You know, I love Easter. I'm not a religious person, but I get to eat a lot of really delicious food. I get to hang out with my family. And so those are good things in my book. All right, so with that, I am actually going to wrap up the episode. I am grateful for your patience this week. Dealing with how busy my personal life has been, there was a couple of deaths in my family in the span of like a week and a half. I've had lots of family events going on. I've had some personal life stuff going on. Work has been busier. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. And I appreciate the patience with this episode coming out a little bit late. I'm going to do my best to edit this and get this out before tonight so that it is out into the world and I'm not falling too behind in my schedule. But I just appreciate you. I appreciate you being here with me. I appreciate you listening to this or watching this, however you're choosing to do that. And I say this every episode, but I feel so grateful. Like, this is just the coolest shit. I just love doing it. I just exist on the internet now. And like 5 years ago, that would have absolutely terrified me. So another moment where I'm like, look at you doing the thing. Look at us. Who would have thought? You know? For anyone that doesn't know, I love Paul Rudd. He's like one of my favorite actors and just people in general. He seems like a pretty cool dude from what I've seen. So any chance to quote Paul Rudd, I will take it. Like I said earlier, I'm a quote machine. All that shit is in my head. I can't remember for the life of me the important details, but I will remember a quote from a movie I saw one time 10 years ago for the rest of my life. So I'm just proud of me. I'm proud of you. And it's cool to be here. Thank you for listening to this episode or watching this episode, for being patient and waiting for the delayed release. I appreciate it so much. And I am stoked to do an exciting, like silly, fun themed episode for our 3rd episode. For all of the guests that I have talked to so far and lined up dates for filming, thank you for being patient with me. I know there's a couple people that I have not gotten to yet that are on my list that I said I would get back to. And I haven't. I'm so sorry. Life has been nuts and I'm trying to kind of get all the scheduling done. I'm still waiting on a couple of dates to be confirmed before I can keep going down the list. So if I haven't reached out to you and you know that we've made contact and I said like, yes, I want to have you a guest, don't feel any type of way about that. I'm still going to reach out to you. I still want you to be on the pod. But yeah, just trying to get everyone kind of scheduled in for recording and filming has been a little bit tough. So I'm working through the list. I'll get to you. I've not forgotten you. Thank you for your patience, and we'll get it all lined up eventually. please remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things that help me get this podcast out into the world. Thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out with me today. And I hope that the rest of your day is as magic as you are.